If you search for the best high-risk merchant account in 2026, you'll probably find a dozen different lists, all claiming to have the answer. But here's the real question. What actually makes a provider the best for your business? And how do you avoid choosing a high-risk merchant account that looks good on paper, but lets you down when things get difficult? Welcome to High Risk Merchant Accounts 101, the show that helps you navigate the world of high-risk payments. Today, we're going to talk about what really defines the best high-risk merchant account providers in 2026 and how to choose the right long-term payments partner. First, let's define what a high-risk merchant account actually is. A high-risk merchant account is designed for businesses that banks classify as having elevated risk. That often includes industries like firearms, nutraceuticals, travel, subscription billing, and other regulated sectors. These businesses may have higher exposure to chargebacks, fraud, or compliance scrutiny. As a result, underwriting is more detailed, monitoring is more active, and funding controls may include rolling reserves or stricter settlement timelines. High risk doesn't mean bad. It simply means more thorough underwriting and oversight. Compared to traditional merchant accounts, high-risk accounts involve more documentation upfront and more ongoing performance evaluation. Pricing reflects the specific risk profile of your industry and business model. Providers will monitor chargeback ratios, fraud indicators, and compliance metrics more closely. There's also a greater likelihood of reserves or delayed funding. The long-term stability of a high-risk merchant account depends heavily on compliance and performance management, not just the initial approval. Now let's talk about what's changed in the high-risk landscape in 2026. One major trend is that more banks are entering the high-risk space. That increased competition gives merchants more options than ever before. We're also seeing better fraud tools, smarter monitoring software, and improved data visibility, which helps both merchants and banks manage risk more proactively. At the same time, some trends are working against merchants. More and more point-of-sale and e-commerce platforms have become closed-loop ecosystems. These vertically integrated ecosystems bundle software, hardware, and payment processing together and often limit or restrict third-party processors. That means your payment strategy must be aligned with your technology stack from the beginning, especially if you're in a high-risk industry. So what separates the best high-risk providers from the rest? Transparency is number one. Clear pricing, clear reserve terms, no vague language around funding or termination. Experience in your specific industry is also critical. A provider who understands firearms is different from one who understands the travel or nutraceutical industries. And of course, you want honest communication about key thresholds, including programs like VAMP and other chargeback numbers, and just how close you are to those limits. When choosing a payments partner, ask how they respond to sudden chargeback spikes. Review termination clauses and pricing terms carefully. Make sure your mid and your point of sale system will play nicely together. And look for providers who have long-term experience in the high-risk space so you don't get burned. At SoarPay, we provide stable payment processing for merchants in high-risk and regulated industries, combining real-world expertise with first-class client support. Want to learn more about high-risk payment processing? Subscribe for more insights and check out SoarPay for high-risk payment solutions from the industry's leading provider. See you next time.